Meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Shamrock Splashdown Polar Plunge will be held on Saturday, March 28th from 10 to noon. That's this Saturday. Join Grafton Rec at Silver Lake Beach for their first ever polar plunge. The registration fee is $25. We are now accepting nominations for the Outstanding Citizen Award. Please visit grafton-ma.gov to submit your nomination by March 31st. We have no public hearings tonight. Is there any public comment? Do limit it to 2 to 3 minutes. And,
Time me if you like. David Glissman, 5 Stratton Road. I guess folks are starting to recognize that I try to come to every meeting and stay informed. So I did get a number of calls from folks, and they asked me to bring this issue up. And I said I would. I'm referring to the March 13th, Friday Select Board meeting. And I did, after chatting with some folks, have an opportunity to watch it. So I can concur with what I'm going to tell you. About 47 minutes in, Ms. Foley was speaking what everyone thought was very intelligently about how the processes with the override is going. And at about 48 and a half minutes, you, Mr. Jefferson, took her to task a bit, saying that you didn't agree with her opinion and that you thought that she was kind of, and I'll put in quotes, off base. When she went to respond to that, to provide some rebuttal, your exact words in a rather forceful tone were, "No, you haven't been recognized. Mr. Often, your hand is up." The folks that called me asked me to bring this up because, quite frankly, I'll give you the comments that I received. Unprofessional, disrespectful, rude. Shouldn't he seek input from other board members? Doesn't he like Ms. Foley? And I guess the question that everyone wanted me to ask you is, are you planning on apologizing to her?
No, I was not planning to apologize.
Don't you think you should?
No, I do not think I should.
So the chairperson shouldn't seek intelligent input from other board members?
That is not what was happening at that moment, sir.
Well, explain it to me.
What was happening in the moment was we had both shared opinions on a topic. We disagreed. She then attempted to speak over at the end of the discussion, and she had not been recognized. So as chair, I went to the next person who had been waiting with their hand raised on Zoom, as we are supposed to do.
And you think that that's in fairness to her?
I do.
Well, I can tell you, sir, there is a growing number of folks who don't agree with that. And there is also a growing number of folks who feel that you have a strong bias against Ms. Foley. So if I could give you a piece of 76-year-old wisdom, she is a kind, intelligent business person who serves this board very well. I think you should try to befriend her instead of making it adversarial.
Okay. I welcome any of those people to reach out and contact me directly too. Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional public comment? Okay. We do have some appointments tonight, starting with the Board of Registrars. If you'd like to just come up and introduce yourself.
Lisa Yitz, 54 George Hill Road.
And you are seeking reappointment this year?
I am,
the
yes.
Republican seat. Okay. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask? Comments?
Just a comment. Thank you for your service. Thank you for volunteering.
Sure, yeah. I've been doing it since I was appointed back in October of 23 and have been enjoying being on the board and would like to continue another 3-year term. So I'm happy to have the opportunity.
Okay, for the board's clarification, the other 2 applicants were unable to make it tonight, and as I understand it, withdrew and put their support behind Ms. Yitz. So if we want to take a motion, we can do that.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
I move the board vote to appoint Lisa Yitz to the Board of Registrars for a 3-year term.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Lisa.
Okay. Next up, we have some election workers. We can just take a motion on that, please.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to appoint Robert Cumbrella, Judith Gagnon, Helen Cheney, and Debbie Ramsey as election workers.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, appointments from the town administrator. We have Joshua Grigsby, heavy truck operator at the DBW. On Zoom.
Not on Zoom either.
We can pass over that one for now. If he does pop up, you want to just give us a heads up?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. New business. We had a request or a suggestion, I should say, come in for a proclamation for Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. It begins March 22nd and runs through April 30th. Something that the governor has stressed the importance of. So we did put together a proclamation. I will read it now. Whereas there is a growing need for cooperation among drivers of automobiles and trucks, motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians who use our streets to reduce injuries and fatalities, and whereas it is critical for all to increase their knowledge of the rules of the road and the rights and responsibilities of all roadway users, and whereas for the benefit of over 165 owners of registered motor vehicles in Grafton and all the riders in surrounding communities, aimed at increasing awareness and reducing accidents. And now, therefore, we, the Grafton Select Board, do hereby proclaim March 22nd through April 30, 2026 to be Motorcycle Safety Awareness Period, and wish everyone a safe riding season. Next up, we have a common victular license for Firehouse Dogs. Anybody?
I think they are on Zoom.
Okay.
We have a hand
A
up.
hand
Just
up.
says iPhone.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Is this Miss Ferraro?
Yes, it is. Hi, Mr. Ferraro's here too. I'm sorry we couldn't be there in person tonight. We had a prior commitment out of town, but we appreciate the chance to speak with you. We're here on behalf of Firehouse Dogs as we request the renewal of our common victular license. This will be our 4th season in Grafton, and we're really excited to be back. We open on April 13th and we'll be operating Monday through Saturday to start. And then beginning the Sunday after Mother's Day, we're going to add Sundays into our schedule. We had a lot of requests for Sundays, so we're going to give it a try for the town. We're keeping our usual Firehouse theme menu and introducing a couple new items. And even with rising costs, we are working hard to keep our prices at a reasonable level. We thank you for this.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear you'll be open another day. That's good news.
Yes, very soon.
Does the board have any questions or comments they'd like to ask?
Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Yeah, just one. I love every version of hot dog that you guys serve. It's terrific. And it's such a nice
Thank
thing
you.
to do on a weekend to sort of pop in. You got the picnic tables there. Anybody who hasn't stopped in, definitely check it out. And it's awesome because you can get canned soda, which I love. So yeah, keep it up. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
So much.
Any additional questions or feedback? No, sir. Okay. Hearing none, I can take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve a common victular license for Firehouse Dogs.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
All right.
Very much.
You are under no obligation to stick around, though you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have a second common victual license for Donut Star. Mr. Torres, I see you on Zoom.
Yes.
Welcome. So this one, the previous one was a renewal. This one, you are a new licensee? Just confirming?
Yes, I'm gonna take over the place. Yes.
Any comments or questions from the board?
Just like to have the new owners kind of go through what their plans are for the Donut Star and what's their version of Donut Star going to be. We've had several there over the years, so this is an opportunity for you to give a couple minute advertisement for the new business. So go ahead. What are you going to do there?
Yeah, I'm gonna be making donuts and breakfast, and serve it to the community of Grafton, and hopefully everything go very well.
Great. They used to make an apple fritter there that was like legendary. I used to have to bring them everywhere I went because people would ask for them and get mad at me if I didn't. So if you can duplicate that fritter, you're
Yeah,
gonna do
definitely.
well.
I had that. Oh yeah.
That's a strong yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Are you anticipating changing any of the hours or days a week that you're open or anything like that?
Good donuts too.
For now, we're gonna just open 5 to 1 o'clock to see how gonna be at the beginning, and then we can plan to extend the hours.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck.
Thank.
Good luck.
Appreciate.
If there's no other questions, you can take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve a common victualler license for Donut Star.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Hey, thank you.
You can sign off if you like, or you stick around, whatever you prefer.
I stay for a little bit. Thank you.
Next up, we have the Board of Registrars to discuss early voting. Come on up. Sure. Wherever you're comfortable, if you sit, podium, sides, wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. There you go. Perfect.
So we discussed at our last meeting that we do not recommend having in-person early voting for the local election due to the cost and the attendance, but we do have the vote by mail. We have already received several applications for that.
That's the typical recommendation that we receive from you guys every year. So, any questions or comments from the board on that? Good. Hearing none, we can take a motion. Make it a nice, easy night for the registrars.
I move the board vote to not host early in-person voting for the annual town election.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have one question. Remember, there used to be a place to vote inside the clerk's office when you walked in on the right. Are you still that wouldn't have any cost? Are you gonna have that set up?
Yeah, you can still do absentee in-person early voting in the clerk's office, yes.
So that'll include absentee and early voting. So there will be early voting, but just in
Well, it would be absentee. They can do the
It's
early.
a different class. Sorry, I'm not a registrar.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. It's just a different classification. So you'd come in. You could come into the office and vote absentee prior to the election.
Okay, and just come in and fill it out. All right.
Yeah.
So, but there's not gonna be the little voting.
We don't have that set up there anymore, but you can still vote privately, and we can.
Could
give
you
a
do that though?
clipboard.
Could you set that up in the corner there? I mean,
Yes, we can. Yeah.
I mean, I was just, it would obviously be during business hours, wouldn't be, but I think if we're not gonna, open up a whole facility and having to staff it is, a big effort.
I will set that up.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That would be great. So I don't know if we need to change the motion, but I think having that and making people aware of it, I don't know how we do that, but, I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's not anything required to notify the state. You only opt in, not opt out, so it's fine.
Okay.
So how does that change the motion, I guess? Does it change it?
It doesn't really, because that wouldn't be considered early in person, it'd be absentee.
Well, it would be early in person, because they would just go and they would do it right there, or they would have to grab an absentee ballot and then go to the station and do it?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay, all right.
It's the same ballot, just a different application that you complete, so. it's
So there's a
kinda-
whole application that you have to complete, just not voting. Well, can we
You-
do,
you
can
can
we do
still-
just the regular voting at that one station, or,
You can,
but you gotta check IDs and all that kind of stuff, or you gotta check people in, I should say.
yes. We would check them in on our state computers, not with the, poll pads.
Can you guys handle doing that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Actually, if I might, to your point, I think that would be helpful because there's like this confusion between absentee and can I go in person? It kind of people go back and forth. I'm not sure that everyone understands how that all works. So if it almost is the same, right? You go in, it's in person, it's absentee, or you just vote, right?
Right,
Yeah. But you have the availability or ability to do it at your leisure up to a certain date.
yes.
Yep.
So are we opening it up to early in person?
No, early in person is a completely separate application, but you can absentee vote in person, and we will set up the station for you to vote there.
Okay, just making sure we're all on the same page. Any additional questions or feedback? Okay. you
There's
take a
one
motion.
out there.
Yeah, sure.
Stacy Bennett, 14 Rose Lane. I would love to have you clarify the difference because I'm confused now. So absentee ballots are definitely separate than early voting.
Yes.
And it was my understanding that you had to declare why you're voting as an absentee. You have to be out of state, correct?
You
Or
don't.
not
It
in
can
the
be-
area during voting?
You have to be it's called absentee because you have to either be not able to vote on election day.
Right.
And so it's
Yeah.
a separate application, but if you have a reason to not be there, then you can go ahead and vote absentee in advance in our office.
So I think if we want to tell the residents of the town, we have to be clear in what we're offering.
Yeah.
So are we offering absentee ballot voting?
That
not
is-
early voting. It's two separate things.
Correct.
Okay,
But
so we
yes,
would be
you could-
offering
Absentee,
absentee,
yes.
and they would have to qualify for that
Yes.
based on a form.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're not saying the wrong thing.
Good call. Thank you.
Yep, no, absentee is always an option. It's the early in person. You cannot just show up at the town clerk's office and ask to vote without
Yeah,
having
just
done
want to
the
make that
absentee.
clear.
Yep,
I've
totally.
done absentee ballots before, and I knew there's a distinction between the two.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I think we take a motion.
I did.
Oh, sorry.
I hope I don't have to amend it because
No, I don't think we need to do any amendment. All those in favor?
I
Okay, thank you all for coming in tonight. We can cut the three loose. Amy, we got one more for you. We are discussing updating the special municipal employee list.
Yes, so that list had been, I just sent in the charter review committee that we did in February, and somebody had asked me for a complete list of special municipal employees, so I reached out to the state to make sure that the files I had were up to date, and they said that they have not received one from us. They had a beach supervisor in April of 21, and then the one that I just sent them. So I have all the stamped copies from years past. The date is listed on the document. And I just put it together to send a fresh list to the state. Every one of the committees listed on there have already been approved by prior select boards.
Great. Any questions or feedback on the special municipal employee list? Okay. Hearing none, we can take a motion.
I move the board vote to approve and sign the updated special municipal employee list as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you for coming in tonight, Amy.
Thank
Have
you.
a great night.
Just before Amy goes, just for a point of clarification, there could be a couple other positions that we discover along the way. So just don't be surprised if we come back with a couple others. They're not new, they're just found during the research of what was done in past years.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to get all that updated and
Yeah.
corrected. Okay, next up, we have Mr. Lyon to talk about his Eagle Scout project proposal.
Hello everybody, my name is Liam Lyon. I am currently 16 years old. I am a Life Scout in Troop 107, and today I'm coming here to propose the construction of a storybook trail behind the library. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this trail would consist of a set of 16 weatherproof wooden stands. It's positioned entirely on Town Lot 89 on the trail recently built by Cassie Brown. The attached podiums will have individual pages of children's books, and it will serve as a benefit to the library while still being on town land. Next slide. Thank you. So a storybook trail is a set of posts that hold these pages of a book. So all of the posts are positioned in chronological order, so children can walk around the trail and read this entire children's storybook while enjoying nature. It helps kids get outside. It helps kids read in a more interesting way, and it's just a general benefit to to help have something for kids to do. Some benefits of the edition: it's going to act as an addition to the library's already extensive list of services, as well as an addition to the trail. It's in a lot more of a convenient location. There's actually 2 other storybook trails in town, one being on Williams Preserve in Brigham Hill. But this one is in a lot more central location where children may be more inclined to go and take full advantage of it. It also gives kids an opportunity to get outside, do something else instead of just sitting inside seeing all screens all day. I have up here 2 books that I read when I was a kid. They're both about accepting yourself, and they're really deep connection with nature, so I think they would fit pretty well on that. Thank you. As for the location, as I said before, it's going to be entirely on Town Lot 89. Each podium would be positioned approximately 145 feet apart from each other. There's going to be no significant modifications to the trail that are needed, so nothing where I need to cut down any trees or make any significant clearings. The podiums would be placed in already cleared locations, so nothing of that sort would need to be done. And they would be placed out of the small area of wetland that the trail intersects. So up on the screen is kind of a rough estimate of where they could probably go. Yeah. As for maintenance, the posts are designed for outdoor use and do not need any regularly scheduled maintenance. The only exception being that they need to replace the book. So that replacement can come in pretty much any increment. Usually 6 months is what I think is standard. My hope is that the library can do this. If that is not a possibility, I'm approaching the Board of Trustees this week actually to ask them about that. If that's not a possibility, then I can work something out on my own with my troop or somebody else, another figure, to try and get that replaced. And all you really need to do to change them is undo 3 wing nuts and then slide new pages of the book in. As for the budget, the project is funded entirely by me or my friends and family raised off to donations. If the town, had any extra money and wanted to make a donation, wanted to make a donation, maybe something in the rec department, that would be greatly appreciated, but not required at all. And the total cost of construction is around $1,200. So this is just a quick list of the materials required. So it's some 4x4s, plywood, polycarbonate, bunch of mounting hardware, wood sealer, and fence driving stakes. So there doesn't actually need to be any drills into the ground. You just basically hammer them into the soil and they stay there. And so all this stuff is rated to last 15 plus years in the outdoors. So it's something that would be a pretty permanent fixture. Yeah, so my timeline for this project is to get this done or underway during the summer, and with the hopes of having it finished by the start of the school year. Once the necessary approvals are given by you guys and library board and my council for scouts, I will be able to get it complete in under a month. And the majority of the work is going to just take place between July and August, if that's the case. So yeah, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or send me a text.
That was great.
Yeah.
I was jotting down questions the whole time, and you just kept rattling off answers before we get to the end. So, very well prepared. Mr. Alamo, you get.
I mean, first of all, the hair. I mean, look at that. Look at this guy. You look great. Second of all, you said you're 16?
I'm 16, yeah.
So when you said when you were a kid?
When I was like a little kid.
Okay.
I do.
Just so you know, like you're still.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This is great. Where did you come from? You are smart and articulate and bright, and you're taking this on yourself. You're going to do all this yourself.
Yeah, so all the
At your own cost, and you're going to do the work yourself.
Yep.
Maybe a friend or two might help you carry some of the stuff in.
So the point of the Eagle Project is to have the project be done on your own, but lead other people in the process. So I'm sure you know the Grafton Troop is pretty large, and so my goal with the project is to take on the responsibility of planning, so coming to these meetings and getting all the approvals and getting all the actual planning done, and then when it comes to actually building the posts and moving them out into the woods and driving them into the ground, it's my job to take charge of that and delegate other people to help me with that job. Of course, I'm going to do some of it myself, but yeah, so it's going to be me and then my whole troop behind me as well, helping with that.
So Liam, just for the record, you had me at hello. Is he yours? Did you invent him? He's something else. This is the future right here. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You have my support.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic work. Wow. I wasn't doing that at 16. Jeez. Go ahead, you're up.
I can't follow that.
Yeah, you can.
No. We're all gonna say the same thing, but you did a fabulous job, represented yourself and your family and your troop at a really high level. So congratulations on that. I'm just sitting here the whole time thinking $1,200 is a lot of money for a 16-year-old guy. So I'm kind of looking over at Evan and figured maybe we could, because he's got the checkbook. We don't have the checkbook, so we got to go through him. But maybe we could figure out something, whether it's some kind of a match or something, to help with that, because that's a huge effort, something the community is going to enjoy for years. And I think we, other than allowing it on town property, I think it would be great to help you on with the financial part. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, well, you haven't got it yet, so
Not
we're
yet.
gonna,
Not yet.
No, we can. We'll figure something out.
yeah.
Mr. Broussard's already been a big help with helping me get this whole thing organized. So
Of course he is.
appreciate that.
But yeah, just we'll connect and make something happen for sure.
I think it's been taken care of.
Oh, look at this one over there.
If I might, so I'll just reiterate, congratulations and a really great job on your presentation. I think it's a great project. I've been up at the other one at Brigham Hill countless times, and it's great for children, of course, and quite frankly, I've enjoyed it, going up there with my dog and just kind of checking out the book. One question that I have is just relative to the products that you're using, and just to, you said like 15-year-ish. I know up there, Matt, you might know about this too, in terms of there were some issues with it rotting out. Was that pressure treated, do you know? Or not to put you on the spot.
No,
but I feel like
I'm
I'd
fine.
talk to you about it.
And I was going to actually make a recommendation that you, while you're putting them together, maybe make another 5 or so and just have them kind of ready to go for when maintenance is needed. The ones we did up on Brigham Hill we had no budget at all, and they were only supposed to be used once.
Okay, so
for
never
like
mind.
the library, and
Okay.
so the total budget for all of that was like $100.
Okay,
So
so never mind.
totally different.
I just want to make sure, because I knew that they had kind of failed, and
Yeah.
then there was a whole process to try to reinvent them or what have you. So that's great. Sounds like you've got the right products for this.
Yeah, I live right up near there, so I went and visited those, and my like construction and idea behind them is a lot more of a permanent solution. Those
Perfect.
ones are going to be more, these ones are going to be a little bit more of a permanent fixture.
Great. And then, I mean, just for Mark, and so my son was in Troop 107. He went through the whole ranks and became an Eagle Scout. I was very involved in the troop for a long time back then. So I commend you on getting to your life. Are you at life right now?
Yeah, I'm life right now. Yeah.
It will serve you well, you know, for the rest of your life. And just so everyone knows, like, part of this is the fundraising, right? Figuring out how to work all that. So that's kind of part of the deal with your Eagle, or this project. Is this it's not your Eagle project?
This is my Eagle project.
Yeah, your
Yes,
Eagle
this
project,
is.
yeah. So it's kind of from soup to nuts is what you're supposed to be doing, so way to go.
Thank you.
Just quickly. Sure. Liam, great to see you before the board. Excellent presentation. I just wanted to say, yeah, very impressive. It's nice to see you with an Eagle project at 16 and not at like 17 and 9/8, you know, that sort of thing.
Did you hear about my son?
It's really common that Scouts wait till sort of the last minute. So really great that you're tackling this now and being super proactive about the whole thing. So have a blast doing it with the troop. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see it when it's done. And thanks so much for doing that. I think it's going to be a great benefit for the kids that are up at the library.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that, and also, thank you for coming and presenting to us tonight, and thank you for also going to the library trustees and keeping them, involved in the project as well. So, we can take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to authorize Liam Lyon to place podiums to create a storybook trail at 6 Upton Street behind the Grafton Public Library, as discussed this evening.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you so
Congratulations. Okay. So the next up we have another national opioid settlement that we are going to vote to opt into. I'm going to step on Evan's toes with this, but the way we're also handling it is we're going to authorize both the town administrator and the finance director to execute any of these related documents and acceptances in the future, so that the select board doesn't have to vote on them every time.
Yep, so that pretty much covers the whole thing. We've done a number of these settlement agreements. This is what we've used to fund our opioid recovery and outreach and all the things that our opioid committee does. So I don't foresee a time in which we wouldn't want to opt into a settlement agreement and get money for the town of Grafton to then be used for public programming. So in talking to council about this particular agreement, he had recommended that we put before the board just to authorize Mary and I to just enter into them, so that we're proactively moving through the process and don't get left behind.
We've seen some great work in collaboration with Gap Recovery, and again, just because we're talking about funds and budgets recently, I think it's worthwhile to note that is that community. What'd you call it? Sorry,
The what?
blanked on the word.
Outreach?
Outreach. Yeah, that those funds are have to be used for those purposes. They
Correct.
don't just go into the general budget or anything like that. They're specifically earmarked for that type of substance outreach. So,
Correct.
any additional questions or statements from the board? Okay, take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve the settlement of the town's claims against the 6 remnant defendants as part of the national opioid settlement, and to authorize the town administrator and finance director to execute any related documents and accept any future opioid settlement funds on behalf of the town.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okey-doke. Next up, we have execute deed and all closing documents for 1727 Upton Street. I'll just let you take this one.
Sure. So as we move towards closing, which is per the PNS by April 1st, we've been drafting all the documents that are going to be necessary for that process to take place. So the first one is a quick claim deed. and you can see that under number 5 in the packet. It is a fairly straightforward quitclaim deed. Lays out the price and pretty much the same as they all kind of look. I did none of this work. This is all done by town council in coordination with their attorney. So this is an agreed upon document that has already passed legal review. And we're just looking for the board to approve it, so that we can move forward with closing on the property.
Great. Any questions from the board?
I have two things. Just for what it's worth, I mean, it says consisting of market rate apartments with first floor retail and absolute parking.
Mhm.
Is that just a carryover from the original? And
Yes.
we don't care? Or
Yeah, it
gives
shouldn't
the
make
option
an
to-
impact, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
because yes, in the quitclaim deed, I think they're just taking the original language that was in that first PNS.
So I guess, do we care that it says something that is in fact not gonna happen, or is it just giving them the option to do the retail?
You can strike that and just do residential apartments. That shouldn't make a difference.
I mean, that makes sense to me, given
Sure.
all that happened through planning and whatnot relative to that particular issue.
Sure.
And then the rider A wasn't part of our packet, I don't think. Is that something?
Exhibit A?
The LDA, it says rider A, dated January 20th. So,
Oh, that's the land disposition agreement.
mhm.
You've already executed the land disposition agreement.
Okay.
So, yep, we can. Well, that's why it wasn't in the packet. 'Cause we've already
Okay.
executed
All right.
that. Correct.
And then lastly, the escrow agent, that was something agreed upon by both attorneys and.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So it's not the seller's attorney. It's not our attorney. It's technically a disinterested third party.
And that person is going to, there was some notation about interest, so they're gonna handle separating those. And
Correct.
that gets back to us and they
Correct.
deal with all that, okay?
Yes.
I think that's what I had.
Anybody else?
Before you move, I do want to note that there is some language in your motion that allows me to execute other closing documents with the consultation of town council, and that's just because you're not going to do that in open session. There'll be things right at the last day that we sign to transfer the property. So you could just as easily authorize the chair or another member, but I'm the paid staff, so that's what we went with. So
Any objections? Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair. I move the board acting pursuant to the authority granted by Article 41 of June 5, 2021 Annual Town Meeting and GL chapter?
General Law, Chapter 40.
General Law, Chapter 40, Section 3, vote to authorize the town administrator to execute, deliver, and record on behalf of the town of Grafton the quitclaim deed conveying approximately 7.04 acres located at 17 and 27 Upton Street to Upton Property Owner LLC, together with all related closing and conveyancing documents, certifications, and affidavits, and to take any and all actions necessary or convenient to effectuate the conveyance with such non-substantive changes to the form of the deed and closing documents as the town administrator may approve in consultation with town council.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
I
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes.
better than me.
Okay, moving on to the next one. We assign the environmental holdback and escrow agreement for 1727 as well.
Yep. So this is a unchanged document from what you previously approved. However, it's now assigned to 1727 Upton Street LLC, which is something that we had previously done on other documents.
And we're changing that to, we're not changing that at all.
Nope.
Okay.
Everything else is the same. We're just changing the assignment.
Okay.
Well, let me be clear. There may be some non-substantive changes that the attorney move pagination or something like that, but there's nothing substantive that changes the intent of the document in any way.
Any questions or feedback from the board? Okay, take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve and authorize the assignment and assumption of the environmental holdback and escrow agreement dated January 2026 by and among the town of Grafton, 1727 Upton Street LLC, and the escrow agent as assigned to and assumed by the Upton Property Owner LLC, pursuant to an assignment and assumption dated March 24, 2026, and authorize the town administrator to execute the assignment and any related acknowledgements, consents, notices, and instruments, and to take any and all actions necessary or convenient to carry out the intent of this vote with non-such substantive changes as to the town administrator may approve in consultation with the town council.
Second.
Again, good job, Mr. Alamo.
Thank you.
Motion made and
Try it.
seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, up next, choosing a representative from the select board for the Outstanding Citizen Award, committee. I'm gonna throw it out there, as this was something that Ms. Foley presented. I feel like it's appropriate, to nominate her for this position if she's willing.
I agree with that.
I'll third that.
If she's
Motion-
willing.
Motion to appoint Anne Marie.
She's willing.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Sorry. I guess logistically, who did we assign somebody to organize that group? Is that something the town moderator is gonna assemble the candidates, or is that something that we should take the lead on, or Ms. Foley is the select board rep?
We've been receiving the candidates into our office, so I would just assume that we would compile all of that, and then we would just need to convene a meeting.
Well, you're on it, right?
I am on it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we just had to come to our office, because we can collate all of that.
So I don't have to,
You don't, no, we have a form on the website, it just comes right.
sure, no, I
right to
understand,
us.
but like in terms of convening the committee and that was something that
We-
your office
we-
might take care of
We,
too, or?
we can push that out, yes,
Okay, perfect.
absolutely.
Great.
I can have Amber coordinate schedules
Great.
and all that stuff. Or maybe it says town administrator or designate, maybe we'll just designate it to Amber.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. I do want to take part in it, but I don't want to schedule it.
Same.
Okay. So the town administrator's office will handle preparation for that. Next up, discuss town administrator participation in school labor contract negotiations.
You want
Want me to kick it off? Yeah, so that's something that we've talked about, during the budget discussions, and something that I brought up. So I think it only makes common sense and logic, and I think it would be a good policy moving forward to have Evan, or a designee, somebody from the financial team, at the table during the discussions, and maybe a meeting prior to that to come up with a strategy and what kind of the thoughts on, where the negotiations may go, and have Evan there. He's the one that, knows the numbers the best for the whole town. So I think he should be there, in an advisory role to help the committee. All my years of doing this, we had not only counsel, but we'd always have our controller at the table, because he would be like, if you do this, this is what it means. So I think that's a valuable tool for the school committee to have.
And a responsible one too.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mr. Chair, if there's no other discussion, so I did speak to Superintendent Dr. Cummings. And he had already had a conversation with the school committee, and so this will be the direction that we head, for the next round of negotiations, so I will be a part of that negotiating team. And I had suggested, when I had a conversation with Craig about this, that perhaps putting this in front of the board sets the board's expectations, whether it's me or whoever else. It's the town administrator, not necessarily me personally. So we've already initiated that and had that conversation.
Yeah.
But
Just to add to that quickly, I mean, I think it would be great for, for the school committee to come in under executive session before, because it's gonna be happening before we know it, right? Time goes by fast, so, but before they start the process, to come in and have an executive session with us and just kind of kick it around. It's their, they have the con once they get in the room, but I think to sit with us and just, have that conversation, I think would be beneficial to everybody. So, maybe that's a different, other than having you at the table, it's a different thing, but I think it would be great to have that, us in a room together.
Would we envision Evan coming back to future executive sessions with updates on the negotiations periodically, or is it just kind of give him a briefing and out he goes? In the past, when it's a select board, when it's a contract, the select board is negotiating or participating in. Whichever members are selected, we usually meet in executive session, give them a set of parameters that we're comfortable with. If they're not able to come to an agreement within those parameters, they come back and we expand the discussion. Is that a similar approach to what we're thinking here, or is it just more like a initial check-in and then?
Well, and I think that's even better. Yeah, if based on the original plan, if there are changes that are happening during the negotiations, I think it's always good to go back. It gives the school committee, I feel like, some support, and it gives us, a voice in the process, and Evan, with his knowledge and expertise with the numbers, I just, I think it makes a lot of sense all around, because it's, it's a big part of the financial, operational budget. So, I think that would be great.
just for a point of clarity, I agree with that. So I think it makes perfect sense that you have some kind of joint meeting, you talk about what's available for revenue, and then send everybody off, and I can come back and brief the board in executive session as to what's happening in the negotiating table. Just to make sure everybody watching understands the process. So once, that's the school committee's domain to negotiate. And what happens when the town administrator sits in on that is I essentially become one voting member of the school committee, which is kind of an interesting dynamic. But so I think that, the board and the school committee sending, their team out with a general direction is going to be great. I think that after that general direction, it becomes more of a task for the school committee to execute with me there and me being one vote. So I just wanted to manage those expectations, and also explain to people that aren't familiar with it how that works.
If I might, for me, I don't need to micromanage this. Again, that's what it feels like the way we've been doing it. So if we had a joint session, instead of doing it kind of after the fact, is what we've done the last, certainly this year. So we meet with school committee in executive session, we have a general discussion. We then talk to Evan, and then he's part of the process. Then that's good enough for me. I guess, if there was some reason that we needed to have an update, but I don't need to be all a part of that. That's just this board member's perspective.
And we can also, I don't think you have to have that set in stone at this.
Right.
This juncture. We can
Sure.
feel that out as we go, because
Yeah.
it may be a process that doesn't require that, and it may be a process that does. And I don't think until you get in the room, you're going to know which process you're a part of. Sure.
Great.
Mr. Chair, just so you know, you do have one hand on Zoom.
Sure, we can take that. Miss Barr, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Great. Amy Marr, 36 Ferry Street, former member of the school committee, not speaking for anybody but myself. I just had a question about what Evan said just now about becoming a voting member of the school committee, because the way that it's happened in the past is only 2 members of the school committee go into the negotiations with the district attorney. The superintendent isn't even in the room. So if the reason we do that is to make sure we don't have a quorum of school committee members, how does Evan then have a vote? This is very confusing, and it's not at all what I'm familiar with in terms of what's written in state law. And I would very much encourage you all to reach out to both school council and town council to clarify that, because I don't think the process that maybe you guys use for your negotiations is the same as how the school district does it. Again, Jay isn't even in the room. So now we're going to have 2 school committee members, the school attorney, and Evan in the room at the table. Just so you're aware. Thank you.
So I did have a conversation with council about this. We did not talk, to be very clear, about what that looks like in the room. So I'm happy to have a follow-up conversation.
Yeah, seems
with that.
reasonable.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and we don't have to take any immediate action on this tonight, so we have time.
Mr. Chair.
Yep, Ms. Ruff.
Yeah, just quickly. So I support the board providing some direction, looking at where we're at as far as levy capacity and where we're at in the budget cycle and all that kind of stuff. That makes sense to me. That's always been available to the board. So that's not really anything new. That's something that the board could have been doing all along. And I support that. But beyond the sort of initial discussions and expectation setting conveyed to the school committee, I don't really think they need our help. So I just needed to sort of say that out loud. I think they've done a very good job negotiating contracts, but it does make sense to me that we would express, just from a budgetary standpoint, the thoughts of the board. That's all.
Any additional feedback? Okay, we will check back on this one in the future when we have some answers. Additional answers, let's say. Next up, FY27 budget updates.
So I just have one slide in that presentation. And actually, you want to just share that screen too? Yep. Yeah. So we'll start with the override calculator. That is part of the update. So Will was, I'm gonna say clever enough. Don't let it go to your head.
Never would.
To put this together. And so this is our override calculator. What happens is, why don't you put in an address? Be like, yeah, 31 Weston. Yeah, that works.
No.
Okay. And then it automatically populates. You just say it, Will. You put the whole thing together. I don't know why I'm involved in this.
So what this does is it pulls the assessed value for every parcel in town from a database. And in the background, what it does is, using the FY26 assessed value, runs 3 different calculations based on the estimated increase to the per $1,000 tax rate. So the first number that it spits out is the estimated tax impact for FY27, utilizing $1.167 million of the anticipated override capacity. The second line is the average tax impact for the remainder of the override capacity, so essentially using $1 million a year. And the third number is the cumulative tax impact. So if we assessed all additional $5 million in capacity in 1 year, what would the impact of that be? So the goal is to give the residents who use it a full understanding of how the money may be portioned out and how it would impact their yearly tax bill. Can I scroll down and show them one other thing?
You do whatever you want.
Oh, outstanding.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Love that.
I can't, and I
That's
can't read
respect.
those numbers on.
I've
this,
already
so I-
seen.
I
I've
don't
already
know
seen this.
Like, I don't know what that says. Yeah, there you go. All right. So the first year is 1.167. Okay.
And it's gonna cost me an additional $134.19 a year.
And what do we anticipate the average, like the increase before the override addition is going to be?
Well, that's not in here, so this is just the override.
I understand that's just the override.
Um,
Is it basically double of that plus the override? Like if it was,
no. That's going to be a separate.
Yeah.
That's a separate conversation. So I'm putting together a chart that shows you what the regular 2.5 is plus the $5 million override.
okay,
So, but that's not. This won't spit that out.
okay. So that's just the override.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all that this particular document does.
I had a question. So first of all, great job, Will.
Yeah, good job, Will.
In going to a number of symposiums with other people serving these positions, there are towns that paid to have this done. So, yay you. But I just wanted, so I already did this at home, and so I found it a little bit confusing, I guess. So just trying to figure out like how to word it, maybe a little better, because again, I get it. I get the first line. Okay, my first year is going to be 134, and then average per year.
Yeah.
Is that like
average annual tax impact?
yeah, so maybe just indicating that for the next per year from FY 28 to 31, it's going to be
Yep.
113.54 times 4, let's say, right? And then the cumulative is come year 5. If I tally up the 134 plus 113 times 4, is that where you get
Yes.
to there?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so okay, so just I think that would be handy on the second line, just a per year thing.
Yep.
And then I guess I'm trying to figure out like the cumulative. So folks are super interested on the year to year. So I guess, yeah, that's fine. I guess the third line, I just, maybe just another way to start it off, like over 5 years, your net increase will be 572,
The total 5-year increase will be
something like that.
okay.
That's but
That's on the value of 516, and that's the average for.
Well, you're going to put in your own value. So like
No, but I'm saying, but
Yes, that's what it comes out with.
that's the average home.
No,
That's a little under
it's
the
under.
average home. We just because can you put the average home in?
like it's 625 or 630.
Because it's all based on your address, so it'll take your actual appraised value.
So I put my address in there.
like.
What were you doing 5 something?
No, it was
I can't
six
remember the
something.
actual address, but the average home value I think is 633
I think
in
you're-
DLS.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Will did also spend some time finding the house in Grafton that is the average.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Good job, Will.
We were using
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So if I can scroll down off the calculator for a second, because that kind of ties into the averages a little bit more.
Not sure.
The daily numbers.
Yeah. Well, just before you move, I just wanted to point out. So, what we saw in many other communities is their tax impact calculator spits out one number, which is the full amount at the end. And what I think is really cool that Will did here is break it out so that you can
Yep.
plan of how that's going to impact you year over year, and also not hide the end number because we see that too, right? They only give you it's going to be $164 a year, and then you have to math it out. So I thought this was a really transparent way
For sure.
to do it.
I think just for me, just those two, like just
Yeah.
a couple of words on those second lines
We-
to make it clear.
I also think that we struggled a little bit having worked on it together. Just like if I'm not part of this, what does this mean to me? So that's great feedback.
Yeah, and we did talk about the wording for like 2 whole days.
Sorry.
So
Well, we did. We did other things.
we
Don't
did.
tell people that's all we did for 2
You know,
days.
So on the cumulative one though, I actually think it's important somehow to maintain the 5 million, because it may be 5 years or it may be 6 years, it may be 4 years. Like the 5 million is the levy capacity,
Correct. Yep.
which is related probably to 5 years, but we don't know.
Yep.
So just to sort of be accurate,
Yes. Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say 5 years. Or
Okay.
maybe in parentheses that it's estimated to be over 5 years or something like that.
Okay.
But it's for the 5 million.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a fair point too. Make it so.
That's it.
Can do.
Okay.
But
You want to
this
show
is
them your
amazing.
dailies?
Yep.
And then Craig, to your point, there it is. It says at the bottom there, this does not include the 2.5% that you would normally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry.
So we then have some general information about the process, questions that we think we might get. And one thing I do want to stress is that this page is going to be a living page on the website as more things come out, or if we get asked the same question 10 times, we're going to add the answer there. So we'll keep that fresh with information based on what we think is relevant.
Great.
So one thing that I saw another community do that I thought was pretty cool was taking the average impacts that DLS will spit out and then breaking them down. So using just sort of the round average values that you get, taking the estimated tax bill impact, breaking that down by quarter, by month, and by what the daily increase would be relative to your general assessed value. So similar to the 3 lines that we have on the calculator, we have 3 charts on the page talking about that impact. So the year 1 with the 1.167, the year with the average impact if you did $1 million a year, and then the cumulative $5 million impact.
So is that the average 663? Is that what
Yep.
that says?
663. Yep.
All right, so that's the average.
Yeah, not
six.
633.
Okay.
I knew there was a 6 and a 3 in there.
There was a 6 and some 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is the year 1 chart. This is the average if you used $1 million a year. And then the cumulative year 5 if you assessed all of it in one go. Again, all based on FY26 assessed values.
Great.
Yeah. Any other questions?
What do you have in here?
That was just part 1 of the budget update.
Okay.
There's not a ton left, but
It just, well, Will brings up this stuff, and we're gonna promote that on the front page of the website as well.
It is on the front page and it was posted to social media yesterday.
Great.
So we have other override materials. Will just showed you some of them, but we're working on some kind of like infographics. So those will be live this week. We have developed a new pay as you throw page on the website that talks about it's essentially why things are changing and what those changes look like and kind of all the things that we've talked about here
Where is
in
it?
this room. So right now it's on it's buried right now, so we're gonna pull it out to the front. This was our test one, but it's on. If you wanted to see it now, you'd be on the DPW page and then click on the plus next to page you throw, and then it's in there.
Okay.
But that was the area that we chose to create it, so it lives there, but we're gonna link it back out of there so that people can find it easier. So we did put together all of that, and then we have some printed materials that are also going to be available based on that same information that we put out there. A lot of it is the same material that we used for Municipal Solid Waste Committee, just kind of boiled down and put into a way that if you're not intricately familiar with pay-as-you-throw trash collection, you can understand what we're looking at. So, yeah, so we've got that up. The only other major change since we last met, which was I think with FinCom, is we got our assessment from BVT. So that increase is 1.93%, and if you recall, we were holding a placeholder at 10%. Because there's historically been some variability with BVT. So that is good news. What is not so good news financially, I think good news in general for kids in Grafton and kids that want to go to BVT, so I'm not saying anything about BVT other than our budget is going to increase over the next 5 years relative to BVT. So the state changed the way that seats in technical schools need to be allocated, and now they're all based on a lottery. And so what that does is if you are in a district like we are with Black Snow Valley Tech, the original agreement that created the district doesn't have what's called apportionment. And so essentially, you know, the amount of kids that you have seats for fluctuates over time, you know, as there's different demands and everything. But when you go into a lottery, that can become very problematic because you'll see wild swings in the amount of seats that are available, which makes it very difficult to budget, and it makes it difficult if you're a student or family in Grafton and looking to be able to go to Black Snow Valley. So what that means for Grafton is that over the next 5 years, the total number of seats we have will pretty close to double. Because, as is my luck as a town administrator, we're the town that's most out of whack as far as the number of students that we potentially have in town and the number of seats we have in the district. So what that means is that even though BVT came in lower than we estimated, it's our approach to the budget that we're going to leave that we're gonna leave that capacity that we've gained by having a number better than we projected in place as we move into this fiscal year. So override or no override, we're gonna see an increase next year of probably at minimum $250,000, and probably $250,000 every. It will decrease over time because it's a delta. It's a whole thing. But we're gonna need probably $1 million more than we have today going towards BVT by the time you get to the end. So that's why we're going to recommend we don't touch any of that capacity, even though we could add a position back in, or, you know, make some small change. We're going to leave everything status quo. The override, obviously, if it passes, then we have the contingent budget and we fill in those holes. If it doesn't pass, we're going to really want that capacity to be present for fiscal 28. So that's all to say, and we will be working on this in the coming weeks. It's going to make it interesting to show the contingent budget versus the regular budget, because those numbers will no longer line up, because we are going to have capacity that stays on the books. And so I don't know what that looks like yet. We are working our way through that. And so I'll bring that back to the board, you know, ahead of town meeting. We'll have all of those conversations, but it is going to throw a little bit of a wrench into all the work that we've done up to this point. But I think that we would be remiss if we spent down the capacity we gained by having a 1.93 in fiscal 27. I think we'd be really sorry we did that when we hit fiscal 28. Regardless, override, no override, I still think you're going to want that capacity.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the number between the 1.98 and the 10%?
That is an excellent question, and I don't have that in front of me. I will do that probably right now.
Okay.
We can move on to other things, and I'll come back.
Well,
I don't know that I don't know where I put that, but we have it.
It can be later.
Okay.
Just curious.
I believe it was also discussed at the FinCom reviews, the idea of can we reject those seats and maintain the number that we currently have? Is that an option for us to do?
That is not my understanding of how that process works, and I don't recall that part of the conversation.
Because this is coming from where?
The school committee at BVT. So
Yeah.
we have a vote.
Right.
So I don't believe it's my understanding that no, you can't do that. I think the school committee votes to apportion. They create a metric by which to apportion, and then you move forward. And we're locked into that because our district agreement says we'll go along with what the school committee votes. Town meeting could always vote to not approve the budget, but if the other 12 communities vote to approve the budget, it doesn't matter anyways. So, in our meetings with Mr. Steele, the superintendent of Blackstone Valley, he has been very, I think, transparent in discussing that he understands that this is a financial burden, but it's a better option than just a straight lottery for sure. But that, there's ways that we can discuss getting to that end goal in a way that's more manageable for the town of Grafton. So he did talk about if you've got any ideas of how to, switch apportionment. We have communities that are going to be losing seats that may be upset that they're losing seats, and so they may, maybe they hold that seat for an extra fiscal year, and Grafton picks that up a year later. There's different ways that we can try to do this, but it is coming.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Andy? So, so when you say seats, so because of this new system, there's gonna be more kids from Grafton that are eligible to go there.
Correct.
Okay. And the cost of going there is a lot higher per student.
Per student.
All right. Is it true that we pay, like, every town doesn't pay the same per student number? Because I remember years ago, like, some of the towns were paying less, and we were paying more. I don't saying we were paying the most, but I think there's some calculation, whether it's based on demographics or whatever
Yes.
it is, that our per student cost was more than some of the other towns.
That's my understanding as well, is that based on the formula, we may pay more than a town that's or less than a different.
Right. So if
town.
we're picking up seats and we're paying more, I think there needs to be discussion about, that's gonna be more revenue for BBT potentially. So maybe there's this discussion to be had where they're changing the seat system, that maybe they need to change the rate too.
And so I don't have a problem I will certainly have that conversation with Superintendent Steele. My recollection is that that's based on the state law, not our agreement with Blackstone
Right,
Valley.
okay, it may be true, but they just changed this, so, they've created another problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So maybe, I
Yeah.
would just,
Sure.
just talk to them about it.
Yeah,
guess.
I can certainly have that conversation.
Yeah.
And along those lines, I was meeting for a while with a group headed by a select board member from Hopedale who was speaking to exactly that. And I do have the numbers at home relative to the disparity within communities. And that particular community was maybe most impacted. And, he's talking about them versus another community. So it is a weird way that they do it. And I don't think that it's from the state. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But the gist of it, I can reach out to that gentleman. He basically kind of backed down with the new superintendent coming in, hoping that, things would be looked at in terms of the disparity. But it might be worth, at least so that we even understand it better, like you get an understanding and then bring it back to us.
I'll definitely speak to the superintendent.
And is Anthony Yitz, is he still our
Yes.
our rep over there? So have you had any conversations with him?
Yeah, he comes to every FinCom presentation and all that stuff.
But that's it. So he might have some insight into this because he's been
Yeah.
there forever.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So and the new superintendent's been there for a long time. I think he said 19 years, or he was the assistant. So, and like I said, he's been very transparent and upfront with us. So,
Right.
yeah, I confess I don't know every
Right.
detail about the.
I mean, on another note, I'm glad because I know only 1 out of 3 I think gets in historically. So it's great for Grafton students that more of them are going to have the potential to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that part.
Yes. That's what I was trying to convey at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
nothing
no,
to do with BBT, and I think it's a great opportunity for
Right.
kids in Grafton that
Yeah.
want to go there.
100%.
I think that as the town administrator that has to figure out how we fund it, that's the challenge.
Well, if they've done that calculation with this new structure,
Yep.
they might not just be telling you what that number is.
Yeah. Yeah. I will certainly have that conversation.
Yeah.
And while you're having that conversation, if you can, I know that, this is great educationally for Grafton kids, for sure. But if you can find a way to provide a little bit of a ramp that you talked about, like trading seats with other towns, you know, because there's going to be some towns that are going to be really unhappy because they're going to have far fewer seats. So
Yeah.
if we can figure out how to horse trade a little bit and have our increases be ramped better than just all of a sudden having the seat count double, that'd be great.
And maybe you could sell them.
Well, it's actually pretty wild if you spend any time learning about the lottery. So each kid is able to get 3 tickets, and one of the tickets is you get the third ticket if you have no felonies. You get a second ticket if you haven't missed more than, I think it's like 10% of the school year. But it seems like they're pretty low barriers to entry, which is good because, you know, the more tickets you have, the more chance you get of being drawn out of the lottery. But it really, I know it's called a lottery and I know what a lottery is, but it really, I didn't think it was going to be as much of a lottery. It like literally is, well, it's Powerball, so I'm going to get 3 tickets and triple my chances. It was kind of interesting. I've never dealt with that in the past, so. And now I'll be in the paper saying that I think that BBT is like Powerball.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that's also good, just educationally too, for Grafton Public Schools as well, because the sort of effect over time that had happened was BVT was more and more selective.
Yep.
With the types of students that they were accepting, and this really makes it so much more just fair in terms of all of the kids that feel like they have a need to go to a trade school can be on equal footing with other students, and it's less dependent on what BVT's preference is, and it's more based on, you know, the sort of community of parents and their kids in Grafton that are interested in going, and so they should end up with a more diverse student population as well, I would imagine, having it be a lottery system. So
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Any other comments, questions on either the BBT increase or any of the budget materials that were just presented? Alright. Can move on to scheduling budget / override outreach meetings. This was something that you know, we had floated, I'll say, you know, the need for, if we were going to get an override option on the ballot. So I figured it'd be good to talk through what we felt were good options. You know, maybe outline the amount of meetings we'd like to have. If we could select days, that'd be great. But you know, at least narrow in a little bit, you know, because we are, again, getting later in the process. So we have, you know, we'll have all of April, but that's about it. So, you know, I'd like to see us do a Saturday session. You know, probably a Saturday morning, or even 2 different Saturdays. You know, a morning session one week and an afternoon session a different time. Just again, throwing out some ideas so we can, you know, I think it's in our best interest to try and vary the times and days so that we make them as accessible for a wide group of people as we can, and catch as many residents as we can. So, what's the board's thought on that?
I mean, I think it's Saturday makes sense. I guess I was thinking, you know, 2 outreach sessions would be good. We don't have that much time, so and maybe one on a Saturday and one on a weekday kind of thing, because we have you know, kids that travel for different sports teams, and that's on the weekends. So to just try to cast as wide a net as possible, I think that would be good.
else have any opinions or potential scheduling conflicts that we should discuss? Would a Saturday morning outreach session work for everybody?
Depends on the dates.
Yeah, everybody knows my schedule is pretty unreliable now, so schedule whatever you can. I'll go to whatever I can. I'll also try to talk to people in between things.
Okay.
So do we need the full board?
I guess I'll ask this, is the school committee gonna be part of it too?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cause they're gonna have to explain, there probably will be a lot of questions about the school budget, so
I
I
totally
would
agree.
assume you need to coordinate with them, so they're there.
Yeah, we can do that. We can have. It's really for us to shape, I guess. At this point, it could be FinCom as well. Open to those things. If we were trying to schedule a weeknight, would we want to do it on a Tuesday, just because we generally meet at that time, or we like to pick a different night? What are people's thoughts are on that?
For me, I'm pretty booked during the week. I guess Tuesdays, could be open. Again, depending on the dates you're looking at.
We were currently scheduled in April for the 7th
21.
and the 21st. The 7th is a pretty full agenda. We really don't have much for the 21st at this point.
I'm gonna recommend, just for scheduling purposes, maybe we think about the TA, the superintendent, and the chairs, and just kind of leave it at that. Might be one way to kind of narrow down the amount. Just logistically, I think it's going to be really difficult if we're going to try to get the two bodies together, given the time frame and everybody's spring's busy.
And then other board members could attend as they were able.
Sure. Yep. But that would be kind of the core group, and you guys just move forward with scheduling it, and other board members will attend as they have availability.
Okay.
So that would allow you guys to move a little bit more quickly to get things scheduled, so we can advertise and that sort of stuff, and because otherwise, I think it's just going to be way too difficult.
No, it makes sense. I mean, as long as that the board is comfortable with that, and then as you stated, if I can work with the other two chairs, figure out what what will be convenient, get that out to all three boards and committees, and then if enough people plan to attend, we can plan to post a meeting, so we're not having a quorum issue.
Yep.
Just for transparency's sake, I can only do the 11th if you're looking at a Saturday.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm booked every Saturday in April.
That's pretty much me too.
Okay.
Is the school committee planning any outreach on their end, or is it just here?
Well, again, like Matt said, maybe it's, chair from there, Jay, someone from here, maybe not even the chair, whatever, a representative from here, there, and both Jay and Evan. And then as many of us that can attend, given that.
I haven't had an official conversation with either chair yet. My gut was that they were gonna wait to see what we discussed tonight and then come up with a plan, as to whether they were gonna do individual outreach or not, but, we definitely, I have enough to work with now. We can get going on that and, just keep the board in the loop.
Okay. So Evan, something that I think is important is for residents to understand the impact of no override.
Mm-hmm.
So you did a good job with various levels of override, but I don't think we did sort of the played out 5 years of no override, and I think that's an important one. So that, just for transparency on what we would expect the service impacts of a no override vote.
Yeah, and now that you have it's no or 5 million, I can tailor the projections to both of those.
Right.
Makes it.
And I would just interject that if it's a no on the override at town meeting this year, that's not to say that there isn't something in the next 4 years that happens. So just to be wary of, we're not going to go with this whole 5-year doomsday if it doesn't pass, we've got to get through FY27.
Yeah, I mean,
How
I
does
think,
that look? And you can still do projections, I understand,
project
but
it out, yeah. Okay.
Great. Excuse me. Select board reports. Do you have any?
I'll go. We had our EDC meeting last week, so we're trying to pull together a late spring, early summer event, and we're talking about venues and topics, and so and then how we get better attendance at those, whether it's involving the Blackstone Valley Chamber. We talked about having an event on the Common, kind of a Taste of Grafton thing, where restaurants could come and have some food, their signature dishes, and invite the town and have people pay to come in, and way to generate revenue for restaurants, and also to make people aware of what these folks are doing there that may not go into these places, and that always we're there to help businesses. So we're trying to nail down a venue. We're trying to keep it to the spring event, trying to keep it the restaurant thing would probably be in the fall, maybe it was like a little Oktoberfest. So but the spring we're trying to hold it at a local business, like a restaurant, so that they public comes in, and so we're working through those details.
I have open space and rec. We met last week or the week before. We had a super short agenda. It wasn't videoed, unfortunately, but the minutes will be forthcoming. We talked about adding a trail committee member to our committee, to the open space and rec committee, and that was brought to the chair by the trails committee. And so generally we were all in agreement that would be sounded like a really good fit. And the other thing that we spoke about was just that we might look at, or we're planning to look at the document, the action plan, I guess, over the course of our next couple of meetings, just to make sure that the items are still relevant and worded correctly, and so on and so forth. So that's about it.
Anybody else? All right. Tia report.
Okay. So the first slide is just RECC. There's nothing really new to report there. We continue to make invisible progress, I'll say. We haven't started construction yet or anything like that, but we have done a ton with technology and planning and the permitting process and all of those things. So it's definitely one of those projects that's going to be kind of no news, and then everything kind of starts at the same time. The only thing to note on there is that we have had quite a bit of conversation around public infrastructure in Grafton, so towers, radio. Grafton has pretty much, out of the three towns, the worst radio coverage. And so we're working our way through the studies that go along with that, or lining that stuff up, and then kind of working through the plan of how we're going to replace towers or add towers or whatever needs to happen to get that to work.
And that would all be through the.
That's all through the rec.
monies.
Yep. So we're pretty excited about that, because that could translate into, at minimum, a $5 million savings for the town of Grafton that they don't have to pay.
Yeah. That
the state will pick up. Plus all the other benefits of going to a digital system and all the rest of it. So good. George Hill Road bid opening is Thursday. So fingers crossed everything comes in where we want it to be. Other updates, just general. So we do have a number of openings. I'm going to try to keep this updated as kind of a thing to discuss when we're here. So we have the director of planning position open. We're fearful that is going to be a very hard position to fill. There are a number of planners open on MMA and have been for quite some time, and we have how many candidates? The qualified candidates?
One.
Why is that?
One, nobody's a planner. And two, I would think probably there are more lucrative opportunities currently available.
Private sector kind of
Private sector.
brings those
Yep.
guys in.
Yep. So, yeah, but hopefully we'll have a good follow-on act to Fiona because she was great.
So what would the operational plan be if we had an extended absence?
Chaos. No, just kidding. No, we have a contingency plan, so we are looking for some additional short-term administrative support. So we have had some conversations with that and reached out to some candidates there. Natalia is the assistant. She will be acting in the capacity of as the director, but it's one person down from three, right? So we also have a relationship with a consultant that we can rely on. And so we did have some outreach with that person to try to figure out where we would need them. We will limp along as we can with doing the things that can't wait. But if we have anything that comes up that's really, a large development, a really complex proposal, we can rely more on the consultant to kind of just spearhead that one project.
Got it. Okay.
So that's what we're looking at.
Thanks.
Obviously, we have that planning conservation admin position open. That will remain open until we see what happens at town meeting and the ballot. However, us having the funds for that position that we're not filling, that's what we're going to use to try to get some part-time or some temporary administrative work in there. So we won't need any additional funding to do that. And then we have a custodian position that's been open for a couple of months. And so we're interviewing another batch of candidates in that case. And then just on another note, so we're going to get back into construction season here. 95 North Street, we're starting some final construction next week. So they went into winter conditions, hit pause, and now they'll be coming back to mostly do signage and benches and things that are off the main trail there. But it's coming along. I think it's gonna be a beautiful park. I think really happy with it.
60 budget slide.
Yep. So while we're on the budget slide, the change from BVT was about a net positive to the budget of $130,000.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
The end.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. Any correspondence anybody wish to discuss? Take a motion on meeting minutes then.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve the meeting minutes for April 15th, May 27th, and July 15th of 2025 as written.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.